Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Welcome to the Addicted Mind podcast. My name's Dwayne Osterland, and I'm your host, and we are on to another episode. Today, I have a wonderful guest, Nic Kalo, and she is going to share her story of being in active addiction for 26 years and running a very successful shoplifting business that allowed her to continue in her addiction until COVID hit and the stores closed. She's going to talk about how she made the choice to do something different and change the people around her to, as she said, fill her table with people who could help her achieve her goals. She is the author of the book, The Power of Mental Wealth: Success Begins from Within. She is inspiring and supportive and wants you to know that you can change. So enjoy this interview with Nic. And if you're enjoying the Addicted Mind podcast, please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. I do read them. They mean a lot to me. And I want to thank everyone who's taken the time to do that. That really does help the Addicted Mind podcast get found by others who hopefully it can help as well. And check us out on Instagram at Addicted Mind Podcast. All right, stay tuned for this episode. All right, everyone, welcome to the Addicted Mind. My guest today is Nic Kalo. She's going to share her story of addiction and recovery and just put it all out there for us to understand and learn. So, Nic, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and we'll get going.
Yeah, sure. No worries. Thank you. My name's Nic Kalo and I was addicted to drugs for 26 years. I'm a mum of three, 18, 7 and 8, and drugs just ruled my life. It was the first thing I thought about when I woke up and the last thing I thought about when I went to sleep. I ran my own illegal shoplifting business. It was a crazy time in my life. I've been clean, just celebrated 2 years clean.
Awesome.
And and learned so many lessons along the way and still continuing to learn so much about myself.
I was reading about you, and one of the things that you had said was that you were really just in a very, very dark place, in the sense that the only thing you really wanted to do was just, you didn't even care if you woke up anymore. It was about getting high. It was about pursuing that high, and nothing else mattered.
Yeah, 100%. Nothing else mattered. It was a really dark place. Living that life is so, it takes every thought, to get up and to wake up and think, where will I go to make money today? How will I make money today? And just to get to that where you do make the money and nothing matters, like nothing else matters. It doesn't matter who you hurt. It doesn't matter, what you have to do to get it. It's just, it's a very dark place and it's a struggle the whole time. It's just a constant struggle. So, you get to a point where you don't care if you don't wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I think it's really hard for people who haven't struggled with addiction to understand that mindset. Like it's really difficult how the addiction can be all consuming. Like literally that is what is on your mind.
100%.
And nothing else. And even the people you care about, people, like there's a deep part of you that cares about someone else.
But nothing comes before the drug. Nothing. I mean, like I said, I'm a mum of three my eldest, I brought her into the world with a job to do. I thought, she'll help me get clean. If I have a baby, I will get clean because I'll have to be responsible. And, not even that.
Yeah.
And I love my kids to death. But when you're in addiction, nothing matters. Nothing else matters. Yeah.
It's just all consuming. And I think that's so hard for anyone who hasn't dealt with addiction or doesn't work in this field, who's been around it to really see it, to understand how that is. And like you said, it becomes really, really dark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how this did start to shift for you then, because it was all consuming, but now you have 2 years of sobriety. You've got a book that you're working on and that's out there, and that's a huge change.
Yeah, absolutely. The last 2 years have been insane. I pinched myself because it just going from that life of 26 years and then being able to do so much and have such a massive change in 2 years has been like amazing. What I did was I changed my circle. Like I didn't have a circle of friends when I was using, but I had my table and I started filling my table with people who had goals and people who had ambitions and people who were actually living life. And so I filled that table with people that inspired me, like people that I would like to look up to and say, wow, I'd love to be in that position. I'd love to have a good job or have some money behind me and do everything the right way. So I filled my table with those people and I started learning from them. I was like a sponge. And, I found a mentor, and I think mentors are so underrated. It doesn't matter where you are in life. I think mentors are amazing, just to have somebody to look up to and follow their steps and take their lead. And that's what happened for me. And so I'm getting around all these good people, and I actually joined a crypto academy, and you learn how to trade because I was shoplifting, and through COVID, the shops were closing. So I needed to find another way to make money. And what I did was, so I thought I was still using at the time, and I thought I'll join this academy and I'll start learning how to trade crypto and make money, and I'll be rich in 6 months. And it wasn't that. It was, I just got around good people. There was an event interstate and I went to the event. It was my first event. And yeah, from there I put the drugs down 5 days before I went. And I thought to myself, go to this event and try and change your life, or you can stay home and continue to do what you're doing. And, you'll never change. So, yeah.
So were you kind of in a way like, COVID starts to come around, you have the shoplifting business, you've built that in a way. I mean, that's in its own way super creative and entrepreneurial, right? Even though it's criminal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, it's not leading to the life that you want. And then I guess COVID kind of comes along and forces this shift. And I guess there was this moment for you where you like you said just a second ago, I am I going to go this way or am I going to go that way?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So 5 days, because I sat there and thought, I've got this team of people around me now who are really encouraging and really supporting, and I could actually change my life here. I could actually do something that just make my family proud of me. I could be the breadwinner, in the right way, and really be a good person here. So decide: do you put the drugs down and try that? Or do you stay home and just and continue living the way you are? So I'm luckily for me, I made the right decision, and I went to the event, and my life changed from there. It's people.
Yeah. So here you are. I'm just imagining. I'm putting myself in your shoes.
Absolutely.
Like you're there. Yeah. You're 5 days sober from this, and you've been doing this for 26 years, and you see these other people. What was it about these other people that said, "Wait a minute. There's other options here. There's something different. There's something here."
Yeah. So when I was running that business, I ran it by myself, that shoplifting business. So my partner didn't even know what I was doing. I would hide exactly where I am right now in the garage, and no one saw anything. So it was the people are amazing. I'm still very close friends with them, but they're very encouraging and supporting, and they started filling me with belief when I had no belief in myself. So they're telling me, you can do this, keep going, keep pushing, like we believe in you. And when I felt like I belonged to something, and I think that's what it was too, I felt like I was a part of something and a part of something good. And I now, I didn't believe in myself at the start. I did not. I was full of doubt, full of fear, full of I can't do this and questioning myself. But over time, you when they're filling you with so much belief, you start taking steps and you start reaching little goals. And it was just learning that whole process of how to live life, like having a goal, taking little steps, having a cheer squad behind you. And when you have those things, my life the last 2 years, like I said before, has been crazy. Like it's just going so quickly, and I'm reaching amazing goals like this book. And when you change that, your whole world changes.
It's almost like, when we can't hold a belief in ourselves, we need other good people around us who can hold it for us because we
Absolutely.
can't do it. And then it slowly maybe sinks in over time, surrounding ourselves with those people. And then we actually start to go, oh, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do something different.
Yeah, yeah, because you got to remember too, 26 years of being a drug addict and running your own shoplifting business, you don't have much belief. You don't believe you can do anything but that. Like that's all I knew. So
Yeah.
having belief that maybe you can get up every morning and make your bed every morning, like little goals. I'm talking little goals, and you
Yeah.
start stacking them up, and crazy, crazy. Yeah. So
And then you
so
start to
now.
see that there's this new possibility that, wait a minute.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And it sounds so simple. It's hard. It is hard to do, but once you start stacking up them wins, it changes everything.
And like you said, I think people sometimes when they're trying to make change, they think of these big, huge things they have to do. But really, like you said, it's like sometimes it's just, I'm just going to make my bed today.
Yeah.
I'm just going to step out the door. I'm just going to, go this direction. That don't have to be huge.
Yeah, no. I think for me, the bigger they were, the worse it would be. Like I had to keep them simple, and just continually do them. And because if the goals are too big, it looks too far away, and it just and especially if you don't hit them, like it's yeah. I think another thing that's underrated is small steps, small wins. I think they're so underrated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Having those people around you and taking those small steps. So let's talk a little bit further. So after these 5 days, you're seeing this possibility. What starts to evolve from there? Because it's, getting clean and sober and doing the work. There's a lot of, oh, I don't know, shit that starts to come down the road.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Right. Just to
Yeah.
put it bluntly, it's like, okay, yeah, just getting sober is just a little bit of the first part, but tell me a little bit more as you move along here.
Yeah, the getting sober was the easy part, and that sounds so crazy. That was easy for me. The hard part was staying consistent, and I did, and I keep doing it. So much personal development. I listen to motivational speakers. There's always something I'm trying to learn about myself every day. Like, yeah, it's a daily thing now. It's part of my daily routine, and it's personal development, and it's investing in yourself, and it's learning about mistakes, and life doesn't always go the way you plan, and when that when something happens, it's about taking that situation and looking at it from the outside and going, all right, so what was my part in this? How did I go wrong here? What it's you have to learn so much about yourself, and that's the hard part. That's the hard part. Like bringing everything that you went through up to the surface, and really looking at it, and
Yeah.
really taking acknowledgement for what you did, and all that stuff's really hard. Yeah.
And that's hard because we got to look at either trauma, pain, trauma that's been caused to us, maybe pain that we've caused to others, and like start to own that. But that sounds like this mindset shift that
Mhm.
you started to change in your life. Like you started to, like you said a second ago, I looked at my part, I looked at my piece, and having the willingness to do that, but that can be really hard.
That is so hard. That is so hard. Especially, like, I can give you an example, speaking to my 18-year-old daughter and having to sit down and have a conversation with her, and saying, look, I'm sorry that, you didn't get the best start. I'm sorry that I dragged you around to crack houses. Like, I'm sorry that, I put you in the worst situations, but I'm here to tell you that I've changed, and things are going to be good. Like, you're going to have the best life I can possibly give you. And to apologize to her, it's a really hard conversation to have, but I think it's necessary. Like, you have to forgive yourself. That's another big
Yeah.
thing. Forgiving yourself for all the trauma you've put yourself through, all the trauma you've put the people you love through. That's that's probably the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. But I don't
Yeah.
think you can move on if you don't forgive yourself for everything that you've done. So yeah, that's hard.
And really having that compassion for yourself to understand, like, this is part of the human story.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And so tell me a little bit more about that process as you started to, you started to dig in. What did you start to do I guess what I'm asking is as you get into this personal development, you start to get these mentors in your life. You start finding these mentors who are in a way, I guess, maybe, and you can tell me if I'm off base here, but kind of holding you up while you can't hold yourself up and encouraging
Absolutely.
you along to build that for yourself. Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about that process.
Okay. So I have an amazing support network. I have amazing mentors. And so every time, because so many things will come up for me. Why is this person saying this about me? Why am I thinking like this? Why am I doing this? Why isn't this working? And every time I had an issue, or every time my head was doing a number on me, I reached out to one of these people. And I could not tell you how many times I've reached out to them. So when I wasn't sure about something, when I didn't understand something, I would ask. So, and I think that played a massive part because I wasn't sitting in my head then. I wasn't trying to guess what was going on for me. I got an answer straight away, which cleared everything up, which meant that I could grow and move on. And I think that was a really important part of my recovery as well, having those sort of people around me at the time.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about how you had also had 3 rehab attempts before
Yeah.
and tried it, and they didn't really stick for you.
Yeah.
And so there was something different in this moment that said, okay, I got to do something different. And I'm wondering about that too. And when you look back on that compared to now, what you see and the differences there.
Yeah. So with the rehabs, I didn't actually go because it was my choice. My parents said, you need to do something, you need to change something. So I wasn't ready mentally. I was actually using while I was in rehab, like the whole way through pretty much. I think I got 20 days clean up the most. So it's, you don't do too much. Well, I didn't do too much personal development in rehab. I think it's more about, so why did you start using? I don't think it didn't go deep enough for me. I didn't find out any answers. It was all surface level stuff. And that's not what I needed. I needed a tougher approach, a deeper approach. So I'm pretty sure that's why that didn't work for me. When you start doing personal development and you bring all your shit up to the surface, I think that's when it starts changing. Well, for me personally, that's when it changed for me. Yeah.
Your stuff started to come up. It started to
Yeah.
you started to really look at it. You weren't running from it anymore. You're like, I'm looking at this and I have the support around me to do it, to dig in. That's what it sounds like.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about taking this stuff now and what you're doing in the present as you're moving forward, as you're taking all these experiences and pushing yourself for growth. What's happening?
Yes. So, do you mean personally, like where I'm heading? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've just started mentoring teens in high school, so in secondary school. So there's 2 schools that I mentor, and I go, and we're starting next week. We go and speak to the kids. We spend an hour with them each day, and I think my lived experiences, will be able to benefit them a lot. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I've just released a book. I'm also looking at becoming a speaker and speaking, to whole classes in schools and just talking to them about peer group pressure, social media, because I think my using stemmed from not feeling accepted, or not feeling I belong to anything. So I kind of started using drugs so I looked cool and that sort of thing. Like I didn't understand who I was as a person, and I think to help kids understand, who they are and there's no need to go and be popular or go and use drugs to feel like you belong to something. I think that's a pretty strong message, and I want to try and share that. So that's what I'm looking at doing for the remainder of this year. Hopefully get into some schools before the end of the year.
To really be able to like give back to others,
Yeah.
almost like what you maybe wish you had in the beginning.
Absolutely. We were talking about that the other day, saying, the question was, what do you wish you had when you were, 15, 16 years old at school? And I said a mentor. Like, I wish I had a mentor, so somebody that I could look up to and help guide me, walk me through life and hold my hand a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me more about that, because you've mentioned, having a mentor kind of several times. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about that for you and what that means and how you see that, and maybe even how you would want, I could see like you want to give that to others.
Yeah. Yeah. So, having a mentor, it takes out it kind of takes out the guesswork when you're striving for a goal or just in life in general. Just social media, sometimes it can get really nasty, and people, there's bullying on social media, and I mean, even for people who are just on Facebook. And I think having a mentor, just when you have goals and they can help you with the steps, they can map it out a little bit for you, because you got to remember, I had no life skills, no life experience. I had no idea what to do about anything. So I think if you have a mentor, they pretty much hold your hand, while you're not sure, while you have so many questions, or just to get you in the right direction so you can start running yourself. And I think, especially for kids, like, if you don't know what you want to do, if you don't know, where you want to be, who you want to be, I think having a mentor is so important.
Right. Someone you can process with, and
Absolutely.
someone you can like bounce your goals off, or will encourage you, like give you the courage
Yeah,
when maybe, like you said earlier, when you can't hold yourself up or you can't give yourself courage, someone else, it's almost like you can borrow someone else's courage. Your mentor can kind of say, hey, you can do this, try this, you're going to
absolutely.
be okay. We're going to, you can get this goal. Try it. Don't be afraid.
Yeah,
Take the
yeah.
chance.
Take the chance. That's it. Absolutely. Absolutely. When you have a cheer squad behind you, it's so much easier to reach your goals, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it sounds like I'm just thinking as you're talking and you're doing all this work, it's, through your having your own shoplifting business, so to speak, you had run this thing really well, it sounds
Yeah.
like, and it was able to provide income for you, even though it was, not what you wanted to do, but you were really able to do it. And now taking almost that same energy, harnessing that same skill set, but in a way that really lifts you up in a positive way. That's what I see when I hear you talking.
Yeah. Yeah. I have. I agree. I have. Yeah. Yeah. So that shoplifting, I ran it like a proper business. Like, I was such an entrepreneur. Like, it was from start to finish. It was a full-time job, 18 hours a day, and I was really good at it. Not that that's good, but I was really good at running
Yeah.
it. So I have absolutely, brought some of that over to what I'm doing now. And it's just I didn't know I had it in me. I see this shoplifting business now. I look back at it and I go, geez, you were really good at that. Like, I
Yeah.
never took a second to stop and think about, how I ran my own business. And now, yeah, I've brought all that over, and that's what I'm trying to do now. So yeah, build it up from the bottom, from the ground up. Yeah.
Yeah, and being able to use that skill set and embrace that skill set in a way that enhances your life in the way in which you want to go and want to be in the world in this more positive way.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good thing too. Like, I found that my addiction is actually going to to help me live now, because I'm going to share the story and hopefully inspire other people. And if I can do that and make a job out of it, like, I am living the dream.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
not? And
yeah,
the thing is that I imagine there's people out there listening that totally understand what you're going through, but can't quite see the other side yet.
yeah,
If that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
They can't
100% it
quite,
does.
it's like, oh, but look, you have these skills in you, And if you can harness them in the right way, they can bring such amazing things. And so, yeah, giving back to like these students and being a mentor for them when they need somebody. I mean, that's amazing. Yeah. What else can you ask for?
Yeah, true. That's right. That's how I feel.
It's like, wow, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit more about your book and putting your book out there into the world and giving that back.
Yeah, the book was an amazing goal. Like, it's not something I thought I would do. There's 18 authors in this book, and we co-author with Johnny Wimbury and the amazing Les Brown. Like, he's one of the people that I've listened to a lot, and just having that opportunity was, I've got my photo on the front of a book with Les Brown. Like, it's amazing. So it's a chapter of, it goes a little bit into my life, but it's more about what I did to, the good side, changing the circle of people and taking the small steps. That's what it's about. So yeah, I was really proud. That's probably one of my proudest, moments that I've had so far. So yeah, that was a huge deal.
Is that kind of just like I want to say like a mind warp when you're like looking at that cover, you're looking at this book and you're like, what in the world? Like, how in the hell did this happen?
I've had that moment quite a few times. Yeah, it definitely is one of those moments. Yeah.
It's like, holy cow, I can't believe I'm with the person that has been so meaningful to me, and here I am. It's like, this is completely crazy. But it's not crazy,
absolutely.
really. But it's not. I mean, it's hard work.
It is. It was hard work. I mean, it took a lot to get that over the line, but yeah, I still have those moments. I'm not going to lie.
But that's so awesome. So give us the title of your book, so people, if people are interested, they want it.
Yeah, it's called The Power of Mental Wealth. I'll show you. I have it right here. Power of Mental Wealth, Volume 3, Success Begins from Within. Yeah.
Success begins from within. So tell me about that subtitle.
That's where my whole story comes together. So if you don't believe in yourself, you need to find the people who will believe in you to help you. And then you start taking those steps, and then you eventually start believing in yourself and you start walking by yourself. And, when you get to a point that you believe in yourself, the sky's the limit. Like, what's going to stop you? What's going to stop you when you have belief? Anything is possible. Anything is possible. And that's been probably one of my favorite lessons to learn, to get to that point and say, I can achieve anything. I can achieve anything I want. So, yeah.
Wow. And really being able to shift that, like you said, it comes from deep down within you, and having that shift, and just kind of going back to what you said earlier, putting people in your life, changing the table, putting people in your life that reflect, I guess, the values, what you want for yourself, and pursuing those people and getting them there to be with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, Nic. I just want to, I guess, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. Before we go, I was like, this is my kind of standard question to wrap up the interview. If someone's out there and maybe they were like you 2 years ago and they're at that crossroads, what would you want to tell them? What would you want to say to them in that moment? If you could say one thing.
Yeah, reach out, find someone who inspires you. Social media is easy to find someone. I'm sure if the seeds are being planted and they're thinking, there's got to be another way, find somebody who is going the other way and reach out to them. Reach out, be like a sponge, pick their brain, ask as many questions as you have to. And because I'm sure that anybody who's been in that position, I know myself, if somebody reached out to me and said, I see you on social media and I see that you've, totally turned your life around, how can I do this? Like, I'm more than happy to help. So don't be shy in asking. Don't be shy. You're not a burden on anyone. And I think it's really important to know that.
Awesome. Thank you, Nic, so much. Where can people find you? How can they get a hold of you if they want more information? They want your book. What can they do?
Just on Facebook, you can reach out to me. It's Nic, Nic Kalo, Kalo. Yeah, more than happy to chat there.
All right. And I will put all the links in the show notes as well at theaddictedmind.com. Nic, thank you so much for coming on and just giving back to the world.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Addicted Mind podcast. As usual, all the show notes will be at theaddictedmind.com, so check them out. And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend. And don't forget, click the subscribe button in whatever podcast app you use. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.